Hi everyone, this is Seah once again. Thanks for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to showcase our Lelit Elizabeth, and I'm going to pair this espresso machine with our G64 coffee grinder. I've been pulling quite a lot of shots on this grinder, and one thing I find interesting on this is that the grinding espresso range is actually very huge, and this is probably a very good grinder for dialing espresso, and the retention on this grinder without bellowing is surprisingly low. Right, on my DS64, even with my improved declumper version 2, I'm without bellow I'm getting about 0.7 to 0.8 grams of retention, but on the G64 it is about 0.4 to 0.6 grams of retention before bellow. Right, so and I'm also going to show you what we have done to improve the Lelit Elizabeth in terms of the steam knob, because on the Lelit Elizabeth, right, the steam knob that comes with the machine is really very ugly, and it is actually this plastic here, right, this cheap plastic, which actually ruined the entire machine, right. And yeah, it works, but then it is because the steam knob is very small, as you can see, right, and it is harder for you to turn on and off the steam, right, effectively, right. So I'm going to show you what we have done to the machine. But on the machine, the current version, which is our final version, right, when I send this version to print on our resin printer, right, I forgot to top up my resin reservoir, the reservoir tank, with enough resins, so it is only printed halfway, but nonetheless it still works, right. The fitting is perfect. When it is cool, when the machine is cool, the steam lever can be pushed in easily, and when the machine get heated up, it nicely lock up the lever inside the pin that activate the steam on the Lelit Elizabeth, right. So without further ado, let me show you what we're going to do today. And we're going to pull shots on the Elizabeth, and we're going to grind directly using the portafilter. And currently by the way, on the G64, the grinding range that's marked on the adjustment dial is actually from 1 all the way to 20, I believe. Yes, it's from 1 to 20, and you can actually go more than 20 on this if you like to grind even coarser, right. So it can go more than 1 revolution. So currently I'm actually grinding at about 7.1. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure out about 17 grams, because I realized on the Elizabeth, right, it works best with 17.5 grams of coffee. So let me tell you what, we'll still grind 18 grams, and then the excess coffee will just scrape out, and then we'll see how's the retention like without bellow on the G64. And we are going to use these beans which we have roasted recently, right, and we have been trying to get a good roasting profile for this coffee, and I think recently we have managed to do that, and now it actually displays the nutty and buttery kind of flavor, right. It is not bright now because we have really roasted to slightly more towards the medium, and this is only 2 days from roasted, and it's actually tasting quite good, right. So let me try to use the beans. Let me show you the roast level of the bean, right. This is the roast level, right. As you can see from the camera, right, these are not oily, right, so these are really medium. So we're going to weigh about 18 grams. Right, so on my Akaya Luna, right, it is displaying 18 grams exactly, right, and I'm going to use my second scale to actually weigh the output. So let me bring you closer. Maybe before that, let us okay, let me put this and zero our portafilter. And I'm going to use this dosing ring, Right, so as you can see now, the portafilter and the dosing ring is 0 out, so there's no mass indicator on the Felicitas arc. And now on my Acacia Luna, it is displaying 18 grams. And currently on my G64, I'm running at the 5th step of the grind RPM. Right, there's 1 to 7. Right, as in what is the RPM associated with the number. Right, I have to find out a little bit more, and I hope that I can give you the numbers later on. So the way I use the grinder, it is something like this. Right, I will start the grinder, and before that, let me bellow out whatever coffee that is coming out from before. Right, and this is the remnants of the coffee from the previous one. As you can see, this is actually less than 0.2 grams, I'm quite sure. Let's just test it. Yep, it's about 0.3 grams from the previous batch. So this coffee grinder actually retained about 0.3 grams of coffee ground from the previous batch, which is pretty impressive without bellow. Well, of course, it comes with bellow, but I don't use the bellow very regularly. So let's switch on the grinder. Oops. Right. So let's pour in the bean. So now let's measure the coffee with inside the portafilter. Right, it is actually registering 17.8, and remember we dose about 18 grams, and the output is 17.8, which means the retention in the coffee grinder is about 0.2. So to prove that there's actually 0.2 grams of retention, let me push out everything that's inside the grinder. So you can see now that my Acacia, okay, let me zero out my Acacia. Right, so right now it should be registering 0. Right, and then I'm going to use the bellow to bellow out all the coffee. And indeed, it's about 0.1 to maybe about 0.2 gram, which means it is in terms of retention comparison with DF64, the G64 is so much more refined and so much better in terms of the performance of getting really close to the 0 retention. So altogether, you can see the add up is about 18 grams, which is what I initially dosed. Right? So maybe let me bring you closer to see, so that you can get a better pictures of the on the scale. So now let me just bring you closer to see the scale. Right? So on the left, this is what we have push out, bellow out from the G64. As you can see, it is flickering between 0.1 to 0.2. Now it's registering 0.2, which means the mass of the coffee that's being pumped out is closer to 0.2 gram. And on this side, you can see that the portafilter with what we have grinded out from the G64 is about 17.8, maybe close to 17.9, because it's actually flickering. So the total add up will be actually 18 grams exactly. Right? So this is how the performance of the G64 is compared to our DF64, right? So I will say that the G64 is a lot closer to the true 0 retention, right? With the stock machine, there's nothing you need to mod on this machine as compared to the DF64, right? Right. Let's move on now to the pulp preparation. So you can see that I've actually got this little gadget, which is actually acting like a dosing ring, but there's an extra sort of a pedal which actually spread the coffee ground as I turn. Right, so this is, I'm actually testing the effectiveness of this gadget. I kind of like it so far. So it does make your workflow slightly longer, but then I think it is good to have something leveled so that you can straight away tamp it down. Because of this, I don't even need to do any distribution. I'm just going to knock it down and I'm just going to straight tamp. Right, and that's it. And of course, we're going to put on the puck screen. And then we're going to pull a shots, right? Right, so now let's move over to the Elizabeth, and then we're going to pull a shots. Lock up the portafilter. Right, so something I like about Elizabeth is the ability to program all your pre-infusion timing as well as the shot time. So this is really a time-based machine and not a volumetric one, because the machine will actually stop at the timing that you program to. So if you program it to finish at 27 seconds, it will stop exactly at 27 seconds. On the BBM Domobar Super, it is slightly different. That's actually a volumetric machine, and this is actually a time-based machine. So it doesn't go by the volume or the pressure the coffee pot is experiencing. It is actually solely adjusted to the time that you set. Right, so on my second button here, so as you can see, there's a shot number 1 and shot number 2. Right, I have programmed the shot number 1 to pull straight 9-bar shots without any pre-infusion, and I did not set any timer for on the shot number 1. So this is something like a manual machine, manual setting. Right, whereas on the second one, I have programmed it to set at the pre-infusion time of 3 seconds and then a shot time of 27 seconds. So altogether, it actually pull about 30 seconds of shot. So let me show you how to adjust the LCC on the Lelit Elizabeth. So to adjust anything, right, you always press the minus button here, right, and then you continue to cycle through what you want to. Right, of course, the second one is the steam temperature. Right, first one is a brew temperature. Second one is steam. Right, third one, you can see that when you press this, the number 1 is okay, let me press again. Right, you can see the number 1 button light up here. Right, let me show you again. 1, 2, 3. Right, so what this means is that the shot time is off. Right, and if I press again, you can see that my shot time for the second one is 27 seconds. Right, press again, you can see that it goes back to the first one. That's a pre-infusion timing. Right, currently is off. Right, it's off. If I press again, you can see that my current pre-infusion timing for the second button here is 3 seconds. So 3 plus 27, it works out to be about 27 seconds of shot time. So let's start the shot. Right, stop exactly at 27 seconds, as you can see. Okay, let's see what we have achieved. Right, we have only achieved about 21 grams. Right, that shows that we have to grind a little bit coarser so that we can achieve the ratio of 1:2. So let me tell you what, we're going to pull a second shot, and then we're going to adjust the grinder to grind slightly coarser, and then we're going to repeat the whole process. But I will skip the part preparation because it will be exactly the same. But I'll still show you the retention on the G64 again, just to show you that it can be repeatedly produce a similar kind of results. So let's do that now. So before that, let's knock out the puck. Right, because now we are using a bottomless, you must make sure that you cover this with a cloth because it's very hot, and also is to prevent air from escaping from the bottom. And to remove the puck, you just have to pump it, and then it will drop out nicely. Right, you can see that the portafilter is super clean. Right, that's why we love the puck screen so much. Right, so now let's again measure 18 grams of coffee. And again, we try to use 2 different scales to show you. Right, so again, let's measure 18 grams of coffee. Right, exactly 18 grams on the scale. And of course, we have to make sure that we will measure the mass of the portafilter as well with the dosing ring, right, so that we will know exactly what output we are getting. And don't forget, we have to bellow out whatever that's remaining here. So let's just bellow out first. Right, you can see it's very minimal. Right, so now let's dose the coffee. Right, so let's now measure this. Right, 17.9. So we are getting about 0.1 grams of retention. Right, let me show you. Right, I'm sure you can read on the Felicita arc. So let me bellow out whatever that's remaining. So there should be about 0.1 gram here. Yeah, which is exactly 0.1 gram there. So you can see that, okay, maybe because of the reflection, right? I think you can see better here. Right, sorry. Right, it's 0.1 gram. Right, so add up together is 18 grams exactly. So if you are trying to get a true zero retention grinder, as close to 0.1 gram as the possible, right? The G61 will probably be your choice. Right, and the finishing of this grinder is just great. I've not seen another Chinese grinder which is so well finished as compared to this one, right? This is no longer similar to the prototype that we have showcased in our earliest video. The improvement is tremendous, and yep, so we really highly recommend this grinder. Right, so let's just move on quickly with the shot preparation. So same thing, I'm just going to distribute and then tamp. Right, no WDT is needed because the grind on the G65 or G64 is actually pretty perfect, fluffy, and it's good. So now let me move over to the espresso machine and then we'll pull the shots. Right, let's lock up the portafilter. Alright, so everything is zero out. So let's see how the shot quality is. Activate the button. You'll first undergo 3 seconds of pre-infusion. Wow. I think there's no channeling. Right, it's a really good shot. 19 seconds. (27 shots). We are achieving about 25 grams. I guess we can still dial in one more time. But then, you know, the dialing process on this, which can be adjusted easily on this dial here. And there's no grind indicator needed because the marking here is very clear. It's very easy to read, and you can see that how easy this can be adjusted, right? So basically, this is the G64. Right, and lastly, I'm going to show you the modification we have made to the Lelit Elizabeth. Right, so you can see that this is being chopped off here. Right, the reason is that the printing is not finished, so you can see that this part is cut off. But you get an idea. So right now, this is being this is used to replace this. Right, this piece of lousy plastic. Right. So it is a direct replacement. You can just pluck out the original one and then insert the new one. So we will be starting to produce this. So for if you are interested to purchase one for yourself, right, we will try to provide the link by the time that this video is uploaded, so that you can pre-order it. Because it takes a while to make this. One day I can only manufacture 2 of this. So yeah, so that's the until I make probably a silicone mold for this, and then I can produce slightly more. but for now I'm only able to produce 2 per day, right? So this is how it works. So you can see that now I just have to flick down the switch. Let me show you. Right, so right now I just have to turn it down, turn it back up, turn it down, turn it back up. Right, so that's how easy this is on the modification. The installation is also super easy. So last but not the least, this is slightly below the ratio that we are expected, but nonetheless we're still going to try the shots. Wow. Oh, it is very full body. I can definitely taste the buttery filling, right? A mild acidity. It is actually pretty sweet, and it has got a good body to it. So if I actually dial in a little bit more, I guess the espresso tastes better than this. But this is really a good shot, even though we didn't hit the ratio that we expected, right? So this is Seah once again. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you find today's video interesting. And then if you like our video content, right, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, right, like our videos and share our videos as well. And don't forget to hit the bell, right, if you want to stay updated with all our video content, right, so that you will not miss out a single one when we launch it on YouTube, right? So thank you once again. See you very soon, and then stay safe.